Happy Hump Day, hockey heads, and welcome back inside the lab to the Wednesday edition of your number one daily 30-minute source for fantasy hockey, NHL news, and betting breakdowns. The Locked On Fantasy Hockey Podcast. Got to take a look at a scorching hot Calder Trophy race, a couple of deal or no deals with some listener-submitted trades, and of course, big-time bets, baby. Thank you for joining us. Let's get this paper.
You're Locked On Fantasy Hockey, your daily podcast on fantasy hockey.
Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Buckle up and here we go, hockey fanatics. Another edition of your 30-minute daily source for fantasy hockey coming in hot just in time to make sure you're dominating these fantasy hockey leagues. This Calder Trophy race deal is getting spicy, but before we get to it, shout out to the everydayers, much love, salute, and thank you so much for holding us down and making us your first listen every single day. We see you and appreciate you. You can find us across all platforms you find your favorite and hottest content. Drop us that 5-star and written review. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on IG and everywhere that you find your favorite content. Steele, this Calder Trophy race, I'm excited to get to. We'll talk about it. Most definitely, we're going to get to some of these trades that have been going down in our listener leagues. We'll think about what this could mean for these GMs making these moves and what it means for others out there that might be considering some themselves. We'll wrap it up with big-time bets. Over to you, though, because we talked about Macklin Celebrini. We talked about Matvei Mitchkov. But right now, it's Lane Hutson, who I think has to start garnering some very serious attention and fantasy love.
Yeah, he definitely deserves the recognition for what he's been able to do so far this season. He had an incredible game the other night, 3-point outing, which puts him atop of the leaderboard right now for rookies in the 2024-25 season at 30 points in 40 games. He's racking up the assists. He's been fantastic on the power play as well, leading with 13 power play points. Obviously, as you can see here, if you're watching on YouTube, at this point, it's a 3-player race. You've got Macklin Celebrini at -250. Lane Hutson actually leapfrogs over Matvei Mitchkov into second at +350 right now. And then Mitchkov leading up the rear at +450. So, yeah, I just wanted to talk about the Calder race. Like, clearly,
Love it.
Celebrini's the favorite for a reason. He's been fantastic. Even with the injury he suffered early on in the season. But it's definitely not too far gone for both Hutson and Mitchkov to catch up to him.
I really don't think so. And what's really intriguing is the fantasy value of Lane Hutson at only 20 years old. And let me just check that, with the ages and the numbers. He is 20 years old. So how did this kid fall to the second round is beyond me, and to the end of the second round. There are a lot of teams with egg on their face, number one. And number two, he was a very hot commodity coming into fantasy hockey drafts, right? A lot of GMs were on him. Some perhaps reached and took him early, and there was a cold spell for this player. Let's be real. He's a very young player, and that's going to happen. But right now, with 30 points in 40 games, Steele, this kid's on pace for 60 points in his rookie year by a D-man. That has to be spoken about, I think, a little bit more. And when you talk about fantasy value for a blue liner who is doing that, do I think this just means he goes out there and he's a 100-point blue liner? No, I do not. But could he do it? Why the heck not? For a kid who can skate like this, and he's bringing some solid peripheral value, Steele. 50 block shots, 21 hits, 22 penalty minutes. Yeah, 48 shots on net. I think that'll be a confidence thing that grows along with his minutes and his time up in the NHL. Got to give some serious love to Lane Hutson, but I'm also intrigued what you think about some of these other players down the list, because I don't think they're catching the top three, but there is still a ton of value here in the Cutter Gauthier, Stankoven, Tiplikov, and otherwise. Lots of good young players here to keep your eyes peeled on. Keeper Dynasty, you know how I feel about these players. Otherwise, though, Steele, great seasons from those top three, and it's a 3-horse race now here on out, basically.
Yeah, it is. And it's kind of funny that we're talking about, the Montreal Canadiens. If you look below, I know there's no logo there, but I believe Jacob Dobish, however you pronounce his last name, the rookie goaltender for the Montreal Canadiens, who's kind of come in and stolen the light a little bit in the blue paint for them. He actually he's in fifth right now at plus 16,000. Again, these are drastically lower numbers to the top three. I mean, Mitchkov at plus 450. The next guy in line is Dustin Wolf at plus 6,000. I mean, I wouldn't urge anyone to drop any money on anyone below the top three, but there's definitely some interesting names in here. You can see Askarov at plus 20,000 as well. Celebrini's teammate Will Smith. So there's some interesting options out there. For me, I wouldn't mind actually putting some money on Leighton Hutson for what he's been able to do on the back end. 20 years old, getting over 22 minutes, taking over the first power play unit, like I said, and really producing at a high level. So the fact that he's at plus 350 right now, I think you're getting a pretty good odd for him right now.
Any fantasy GM that's tasted success over the course of their fantasy career has to have a bit of an angle for pegging a good young player. And I think it's kind of unfair to expect anyone outside of these top three players to win this award, but that doesn't mean that there are not still a bunch of very attractive fantasy options here, Steele, that I think are set for big second halves. We spoke about that a little bit a couple of weeks ago. By the way, stay tuned for some bold predictions episodes. We're going to be breaking down everything that you guys need to know entering the second half. Lots of special guests, new segments. It's all coming up. But when you talk about a guy like Matvei Mitchkov and you talk about a team like the Philadelphia Flyers, all of these players, the top three that we're looking at, they're on bad teams and they're still doing it. So what's it going to mean as these teams start to turn things around and point the needle in the right direction? I think it's going to be huge. And this fantasy value is going to go straight through the roof. One more player that I want to talk about, I want to throw your way quickly, that's been somewhat of a disappointment is Logan Stankoven.
Yeah.
Know that he's been red hot at times to start, that he had some looks last year, really put up points. This is an 18 points for a kid who's really not got a ton of experience under his belt. I'm just a little bit disappointed with him with 18 points. And I don't think too many people are actually talking about it, but I had much higher expectations for this kid before we get to trades, before we get to bets. What do you think about that one?
Yeah, no, clearly a disappointment. And again, I think that goes to do with what I said earlier on in the season with these Dallas Stars is they have so much depth in the forward group. You can go all the way down to the fourth line, really.
Good point.
And they might not be producing enough points, but they play a hard game, especially under their head coach right now. So again, especially when Tyler Seguin was in the lineup and he was popping off offensively, Matt Duchene, who's had a resurrection to his career this season too with the Stars. Again, it kind of just, there was no top line. It was really, they just rolled and rolled and rolled. And that's what you've seen from the Stars so far. And that's what you're getting from Logan Stankoven, who finds himself on the third line right now, playing with guys like Sam Steele and Maverick Bourque, who aren't offensively juggernauts. They have a job to do and they do their job really, really well. So it's a tough situation for a guy like him, but he has for sure been a disappointment this season for the Stars and your fantasy teams if you own him.
One of those angles, though, that when it comes to young players, sure, it might not jump off the page if they're a Montreal Canadien, a Philadelphia Flyer, or a San Jose Shark. That means they're going to get a lot more opportunity. You know how short the leash is going to be for Pete DeBoer in Dallas with this team where the expectations are so high. So we have the same for the rest of today's episode. We're going to cover all angles that you need to topple your fantasy leagues, young guns, old studs, goaltenders, backups, whoever. We'll be covering every single angle that you need to know all the way until that cup gets lifted, baby. Monday through Friday, we're here for y'all. Today's episode is brought to you by our friends at FanDuel Sportsbook. From big upsets to game-winning drives, the NFL playoffs are much better with FanDuel. Right now, new customers bet $5 and get $200 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $200 in your pocket in bonus bets, win or lose. The FanDuel app gives you everything you need to hit live bets, same-game parlays, and so much more. Steele and I have been cooking up a few same-game parlays ourselves. We love the FanDuel app just for that, or you can hit the website, FanDuel.com, to join today and get started with that $200 in bonus bets at FanDuel.com. Make the playoff season unforgettable with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL.
And thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review. Flip and I appreciate all that love and support you show us. Monday through Friday, 7 o'clock in the morning is when you can find our episodes. We really do appreciate it. We just got over 1.9K subscribers on YouTube, so we're feeling the love out there. Continue to drop the comments on the channel, on Twitter as well. We'll get back to you as soon as possible.
Yes,
Real quickly, before we get to the fan-submitted trade, I just want to quickly look at the Rocket Richard race. You and I love talking about some of the best goal scorers in the game right now.
Oh, yeah.
Leon Draisaitl leading the way as the favorite at -160. He has 29 goals on the season. Next in line, Mikko Rantanen has 24. So he's 5 behind. And I think that's the player I really love right now. And getting a really good odd too. Mikko Rantanen currently 4th favorite to win the Rocket. He's at +900. Again, like I said, 2nd in the league with 25 right now, and he's scoring goals at will. I believe he's currently on a 5 or 6 game goal streak. So just wanted to get your thoughts on who you like. And, obviously Leon Draisaitl is one of the best goal scorers in the game, but odd wise, where are you looking at?
From what I've seen just on the ice, I think I would probably not bet against Leon Draisaitl, but I appreciate the angle that you're giving me here. And I've got 2 names for you, actually, Steele, because you know I'm a degenerate and I come ready to ride even if I don't have a ton of notes. Willie Nylander with 23 goals. You and I already spoke about this, I think, a month ago. He's going to catch some money because I really don't think we've even seen his best hockey this season. Leon Draisaitl, you're seeing it right now, and that's great. But Willie's got 23 goals, and the Leafs lineup has been in flux. I don't think they've really had their regular set forward lineup because of all the injuries, because of all the plug and play that Craig Berube has had to do. So that leaves me a ton of intrigue in terms of the value here for a guy who's only 6 back. He pops a couple in one night or a Hattie or something like that, he's right in the mix. And the other one is right there at 1 goal behind him in Kyle Connor. I think there's a ton of value in both of those players. And considering how good that top line has been in Winnipeg, I like both of those angles. Willie, Leafs, juggernaut. Kyle Connor, top line, beast. Those are the 2 players that if I'm not going with Leon or Mikko, I'm probably going to throw a little bit of money at Willie and Kyle Connor.
Yeah, I like William Nylander too. I said his name last time we did the updated odds for the Rocket Richard. He has been very cold of late on a 7-game goalless drought currently. He is racking up the assists and doing his part outside of scoring. But when it comes to this right now, he has slowed down quite significantly. I really do like Mikko Rantanen at +900. The fact that he's 2nd right now at 25 and he's the 4th favorite at +900. I like those odds. I think Braden Point and Jake Gensel could also be interesting as well. Very sneaky picks from the Tampa Bay Lightning. They've kind of gone down a scoring drought to the last couple of games. So, I just wanted to talk about the Rocket Richard.
Might as well. You got it up.
For our listeners, we got it up here. We're going to get to big time bets at the end of the episode like we always do using the FanDuel Sportsbook app. Make sure you go sign up for that $250 bonus. But let's get over to the fan submitted trade. I'm going to pull up the graphic right now. It was a 3-for-3 deal. Big names on the trade here. Juicy trade. Let's get your thoughts on it initially. Here we go. Team 1 received Carter Verhaeghe, your boy, Jason Robertson, and Morgan Rielly. And Team 2 in return got Philip Forsberg, Devin Taves, and Matt Zuccarello. Some really big names out here for fantasy hockey trades. You rarely see a 3-for-3 deal, in these type of situations. But what are your initial thoughts when you see the graphic here?
I think this is Team 1 taking a shot on, aside from Morgan Rielly, who's looked pretty good over the last couple of games, and I'm not taking away from Carter Verhaeghe or RoboCop. I think this is a very calculated move to, you had to pay the price with Forsberg, Taves, and Zook. I like what I've seen from Zuccarello of late as well. But I think you're kind of buying low here on Verhaeghe, Robertson, not so much Rielly, but hoping that it pays out. And then I see on Teams 2 side of things, Steele, if I just hit you with my overall take on it, this is perhaps, and I like that you didn't throw names on these teams because I really actually don't know what team needs what. But when I see Forsberg with the hits, when I see Taves with the block shots, and I see those other peripheral categories with shots on net being covered here, whereas I look at Verhaeghe and RoboCop and even Rielly as purely offensive category guys, perhaps Team 2 has done a really good job of covering off on those peripherals, on the less sexy categories. So I'll say this, Team 1, I like it. You're taking a calculated risk. Team 2, it seems like you're addressing a need for a very specific couple of categories that perhaps takes your team over the top. So I guess what I'm saying here, Steele, is I think this is a very even trade, but in my opinion, It's team one that comes out on top here with just a better overall talent. But does that mean they win the trade outright? I don't know what you think, but over to you for that.
Yeah, I think this is just an upgrade overall for Team One. So I have to agree with you. Team One takes the cake here in this situation. Clearly a buy low for Carter Verhaeghe, taking a chance on him to really jump up and step up in the second half of the season. Even though, I mean, you compare Verhaeghe to Forsberg right now, the stats are eerily similar when it comes to their overall production. I mean, 10 goals for Verhaeghe, 1 less for Forsberg. Assists very even. Power play points in Verhaeghe's favor. Shots on goal very similar as well. A little bit more physicality from Forsberg. To me, I think the one that really persuaded me in favor of this trade was the Morgan Rielly over Devon Toews situation. I think Devon Toews, he has played a lot better over the last week and a half. Offensively and with those peripherals. Devon Toews has never been that guy to really shine in fantasy leagues when it comes to categorical formats. Morgan Rielly, though, first power play unit over Devon Toews, who gets second power play unit. Offensively, they're pretty much the same. A little bit more peripherals from Morgan Rielly in both shots, hits, and blocks. Similar as well, but I think for me, just getting that upgrade on defense and taking that shot on Carter Verhaeghe, who 100% can turn his season around and kind of just explode at any moment. You love him, as a fantasy hockey player. And then Matt Zuccarello also just kind of another key piece in the situation. I tend to agree with you, though. Team one for me definitely takes the win in this trade. However, it is a very even deal for both sides.
I think what's also smart on the part of the player or GM getting rid of Philip Forsberg in this situation, Steele, that yes, I understand that the Nashville Predators are 5-4-1. They've won a couple of games in a row and quote unquote, they're playing better hockey. If you want to use a very loose term here, this team is a mitigated mess. And I think honestly, by now, most people we've talked about, we don't want to beat a dead horse here, but I got to throw a number at you here. How is it possible for a team that brought in the players that they did, and this has all been covered, but they have scored 98 goals this season? That's the least in the NHL. And the fact that you got teams like the Chicago Blackhawks and the San Jose Sharks, Seattle Kraken, or otherwise outscore the Anaheim Ducks are outscoring Stammer, Marchessault, and all these guys up in the mix. It's embarrassing. And I think I said it the other day about the Vancouver Canucks in terms of pieces you're invested in. I love this from the angle of someone who is getting rid of a volatile piece in Philip Forsberg, taking nothing away from what he's done previously. This season, it's a risky spot to hang on to these guys now. Look, I saw the peripherals there. He's still bringing it. But you know what I'm saying here. That Nashville Predators team is bad. So the fact that you were able to get Carter Verhaeghe, great team. Jason Robertson, great team. Morgan Rielly, pretty good team. I like that even more. You're really kind of laying the foundation. You're playing it safe while also taking a calculated risk. The more that I think about it, that team won the trade in a big way for me. There's still the value for team two. Very excellent trade for us to break down in this segment. I really like that. Usually you and I see a whole bunch of joke offers. Really, you're like, oh, is this what really is happening? Love this angle. And if you're out there and you have some of these similar pieces, I think the angle here holds true. Take a shot. Fire a few offers out there and see what you can do to upgrade your club because time's running out, especially for guys like me, Steele, who are lagging in the rear heavy.
Yeah, we're getting after it. The last time we did a fan submitted trade as well, it was for another Nashville Predator. They received Nikita Kucherov and Jonathan Marchessault, and in the next 3 games, Marchessault just absolutely popped off. Had 6 points in 2 games, 6 points in 3 games. Real quickly before we get to big time bets, just your initial thoughts, your initial answer, deal or no deal on this trade. I actually just received 10 minutes ago. Again, it might be another joke of a trade, but I would be giving up Cam Talbot and Jake Gensel for Noah Dobson and Lucas Dostal. So I haven't really dug deep into it, but initial thoughts, what do you think? Talbot and Gensel for Dobson and Dostal.
Initial thoughts, if this is a year-to-year league, I'm saying no. If this is a keeper dynasty league, I'm going to take my shot on Noah Dobson bouncing back to the form that we thought next year, and then you get a little number one pick or number one goaltender on a team on the rise, I say long term, I'm taking Dostal. I'm going to take that little bit of love. But year to year, I don't think I'm okay with giving up a guy in Gensel, especially considering I know you're having a good year. I wouldn't want to shoot yourself in the foot, if you know what I'm saying. So I'm going to say for you, no deal. If it was me in the keeper dynasty side of things, I'm saying deal, if that makes any sense, to cop out completely.
It does make sense. Sadly, it is a year-to-year league. I will have to agree with you. I think just giving up Gensel in this situation is
Right.
losing a little bit of value, even though I do need help. I do need help on the blue line. Dobson offensively hasn't done much. However, the peripherals he has excelled in very, very well. We're going to get, after the break, big-time bets. 4 games on the schedule. Same game parlay coming to you Wednesday night. But first, this episode is brought to you by Game Time. If you're like Flip and I and love going to live events, whether it's sports, music, theater, or comedy, then Game Time is the app for you. One of my favorite memories was attending a concert last year. The energy, the excitement, the people, it was unforgettable. Now, with Game Time, they have made it even easier to get tickets for your favorite events with their new feature, Game Time Picks. This feature filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals on great seats, so you don't even have to waste time searching through all those tickets. Recently, I was looking for tickets for an upcoming Maple Leafs game using the Game Time app. With Game Time Picks, I found amazing deals and could even see the view from my seat before buying. The super deal was particularly impressive, offering great seats at unbeatable prices. Plus, the app's all-in pricing shows the total cost up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app and create an account. Use code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONNHL for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? It's game time. Once again, thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. Continue to smash that subscribe button, the follow button, leave a 5-star review. Flip and I really do appreciate all that love and support you've been showing us. It means the world to us. So thank you so much for all of that. We're going to get FanDuel back up on the screen. We've got 4 games on the schedule for Wednesday night. And Flip, where are you looking at first? I'll get the odds up very, very shortly.
Appreciate
but 4
that.
games on the schedule.
Yep.
Let's get down to it. Here they are. The Colorado Avalanche taking on the Chicago Blackhawks. You've got the Canucks and Capitals, Panthers, and the Utah Hockey Club, Flames, and the red-hot LA Kings at home. Where are you looking first, my guy?
First game, the Vancouver Canucks. I spoke about mitigated messes. They're in that situation right now. And I know I might be being a little bit overcritical, and this is probably still a team that is going to knock on the door there as one of the top 3 teams in that division. But if they don't tighten it up soon, they will fall out of that spot. 3-3-4 in their last 10 games. And they're going up against a Washington Capitals team that I've also been very clear about, but on the opposite side of things. The Caps are 7-1-2 in their last 10 games against Vancouver. That's been a pretty even split in terms of the over-under, so I'm keeping things very, very simple here for the Washington Capitals, who are our team that are 13-7 over their last 20 and play great hockey at home. Caps, money line, that's my first pick, keeping things real, short, sweet, and simple for that one, Steele.
Loving the pick. You know, I went against the Vancouver Canucks the other night. Montreal got it for me. 5-4 overtime win. Nick Suzuki game winner. So I love this too. Washington also just lost a squeaker to the Buffalo Sabres. So they're definitely going to be looking to bounce back in a big way to keep that top spot in the Metropolitan Division. I've got a same game parlay for you, so I'll just rattle off all 3 of these picks.
Love that.
Number 1, it's coming from this Colorado Avalanche Chicago Blackhawks game. So first pick off the top, anytime goal scorer Mikko Rantanen plus 100 right now. Again, like I said earlier in the episode, he's on a 5-goal streak right now, 5-game goal streak right now. So he's ripping the puck. I'm feeling the anytime goal from this top goal scorer in the NHL. Plus, you're getting plus 100. So I love the odd right there. Parlaying that with the MacKinnon 2+ points. There is no odd currently up right now for Nathan MacKinnon 2+ points because we're recording a little bit early on Tuesday. However, he is rocking a crazy point streak right now. 10+ game point streak. Multi-point games, here and there throughout this point streak. So he's absolutely killing it. Mikko Rantanen anytime goal with the Nathan MacKinnon 2+ points and the third pick of the night. Going to be taking the Colorado Avalanche on the puck line at +108. I could definitely see this odd shifting a little bit, probably early, pregame -10, -105, somewhere around there. I wouldn't mind actually bumping it up to -2.5 to get a plus odd. Because the Colorado Avalanche have dominated the Chicago Blackhawks. When they win by a lot. And I believe they're 8-1-1 in their last 10 games. So they play really well against Chicago. This is a good situation for them. Mackenzie Blackwood's been great. So same game parlay, Mikko Rantanen anytime goal, Nathan MacKinnon 2+ points, and the Colorado Avalanche on the puck line.
And let's be clear, the Colorado Avalanche were beating up on a ton of really bad teams. Yes. San Jose, Nashville, Anaheim, Seattle, Utah, Buffalo, and they lose to Montreal, but they also had a big win against Winnipeg, big win against Florida. This team is definitely alive and well right now, and the offense is going to have to carry this club. So I like that we're covering these angles, and I'll get to that in a very quick sec for my lock of the night. Kings money line at home to the Flames is almost too good to be true, and I understand that you're gonna have to lay a bunch of juice. I'm seeing it right now. Where is this at? It's at -220. So I don't love that, but I'm not just gonna bet on this one singularly. I'm gonna probably put it into a parlay. If you want to get spicy, do the puck line. I guess what I'm just a little bit wary of here is 6-3-1 for the Flames in their last 10 against the LA Kings, but when you look at them just kind of overall, not against each other head to head, the Flames just lost ugly ones to Utah and Nashville. And the Kings are absolutely on fire. Edmonton, Philly, Jersey, Tampa Bay, 4 straight wins against good teams. To me, this one's screaming Kings. Money line, hammer it into your favorite parlay and take me later. Cale Makar, anytime assist. Tight and simple is my lock of the night. He did not have any points in his previous game, held off the score sheet. That's going to inflate your odd a little bit. And I dug into it a little bit more, Steele, even though I didn't have a ton of time. Cale Makar in his career against this Chicago Blackhawks team, 12 games, 13 points, including 8 assists. Hit me with the Cale Makar anytime assist. Lock that one in, Steele. We've been feeling pretty good about the picks over the first couple of days of this week. Let's keep it rolling here.
The Cale Makar anytime assist is making it into that same game parlay of mine.
Oh.
Also, the Kings on the money line, I believe they're rocking an 8 or 9 home win streak right now. Yes. So they have been dominating at home on the season. I believe they're like 14-2-1 or something like that. It's been absolutely insane. Kings money line, loving it. Same game parlay from the Colorado Avalanche, Chicago Blackhawks. Getting after it with big time bets. Thank you so much for making the Locked On Fantasy Hockey Pod your first listen every single day. Make sure for your second listen, you go check out the Locked On NHL podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Once again, from both Flip and I, good luck with all those bets. Hammer the locks on Wednesday night. Good luck with your weekly matchups, and we shall see you back here again tomorrow.